One question I get asked always is, how do I claim for work experience in the express entry? In this video, we're going to show you 10 important steps to follow while drafting your reference letter. Make sure you stick around till the end for important tips in case your employer does not give you a reference letter. Hey, it's Jason here from the Immigration Consultants, where we help you simplify the immigration process with video. You would be new here, so make sure to hit the subscribe button that's below. So let's begin. The reason the express entry was conceptualized was to have international skilled workers take their education and skill sets and apply them to the benefit of the Canadian economy. So if you have worked for any organization, you would know that you are supposed to get a reference letter. So let's break a reference letter into 10 steps to help you claim full points on your work experience. So before we talk about the parts of a reference letter, you have to prove that you have the relevant work experience that would qualify you. So your job skill must be type 0, A or B. If your skill level is C or D, you would not be eligible. For more information of the National Occupational Classification or the NOC code, as it's usually called, you can click on the link below. Next, your work experience must be in the same doc code in the last 10 years and must be paid. Volunteer work or unpaid internship do not count. You need to have in total at least 1 year of continuous full-time work experience, or in total 1,560 hours or at least 30 hours per week. So under the Federal Skilled Worker Program, the reference letter must be an official document printed on a company letterhead. So it must include your full name as per your passport. Avoid nicknames where possible. It must contain the company's contact information like the address, the telephone number, the email address, and also must be stamped with the company's official seal. It should contain the name, title, and signature of your immediate supervisor. Now, the letter should also indicate all positions held while employed at the company. This is one of the most important parts which is often missed out. It must also include your job title, your duties and responsibilities. Yes, you have to list your duties and responsibilities. Why? Because the immigration officer would want to make sure you actually worked in the occupation that you said you have. Job status. So is this your current job or did you work there previously? The dates you worked for your company. What was your start date? What was your finish date? The number of hours worked per week. Because in order to claim your work experience, you should be able to demonstrate that you've at least worked 30 hours per week. Last and not the least, your annual salary and benefits must also be mentioned. Now, most reference letters may not have your duties listed or may not have the hours worked per week listed or the annual salary and benefits listed. Now, this is pretty much what the immigration officer would look for before accepting your reference letter as a legitimate document. Now, let's be honest, there is no perfect reference letter. However, if you can get every one of your prior employers to include all of this information we discussed, you will increase your chances of being awarded all the points you deserve. So in case someone was to tell you that it's okay if you don't have your hours listed or your roles listed, it's probably a bad idea to listen to them. Remember, it's your obligation to provide everything that IRCC wants. If you don't, your application may be refused. Why? Because your reference letter does not meet the minimum requirement. So if you still can't get a reference letter, and keeping in mind the earlier requirements we discussed, which are mandatory, I would say think outside the box. Remember, every express entry application is different. Every immigration officer is different. Now, there is no one list of comprehensive documents that applies to everybody's situation, and third-party documents are better than self-attestation. So what this means is having something generated from your company is far better than making a statement yourself. But don't confuse your statement with a letter of explanation which you can provide at the beginning to help the immigration officer see how the alternate document is going to be used to replace those missing pieces of information that you would have normally provided. So what are the possible alternatives? A job offer letter. What does a job offer letter say? You know, the one you receive at the time of getting the job? Job postings. How did you go about finding your job? Was there a job posting that had the job description when you applied to? Are there any internal company job descriptions you may have? Now, this can be attached to your reference letter also. What about your salary slips and bank statements that shows your salary was being deposited into your account? How did your relationship with your company end? Did you resign? Was there a termination letter or a resignation letter? Did your company transfer you to another country? I mean, did you go to the UK or maybe the US on an intercompany transfer? That document would help. Now, sometimes a company would also issue a letter for financing a home loan. Do you still have that copy? An email from your HR confirming that they do not provide a detailed reference letter. This letter can help convince the immigration officer that because the company does not provide a detailed reference letter, you could not produce one. Do you have your performance evaluation document? Maybe a quarterly or a half-yearly evaluation? Or maybe even a promotion letter you would have had in the past. Your income tax returns that would show the taxes you pay to the government. And of course, the obvious, your employment contract. Now, failing all of these, you could try getting a sworn statement from someone other than, of course, yourself, who can attest for your work history, even if it's in an email. Remember, even with all of these documents, the onus is still on you to prove your work experience. And if you can't prove it, there is a chance the immigration officer may just say, I'm not going to accept this application and reject it. The reality is, you have to be able to source the information and understand what is required and what isn't. Now, just a word of caution. Never accept what someone has done in the past as the actual law. Immigration changes, laws change, policies change. So if you're looking to immigrate to Canada and if you'd like me to help you with your immigration process, feel free to give me a shout on the details below. I'll be glad to help in any way I can. I'll see you in the next one.